And welcome to another edition of Wolverine Chat. I am your host, Tim Raymond, and I just want to say happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I hope everybody had great times with their family and friends, and there's so many things for us to be blessed about in this country that I can't even begin to thank everybody, all my family, my friends, and I have a new set of family and friends. I got married in April, so I've just tripled my family, and I love all of them. And so have a great Christmas, a great Thanksgiving, and this is a little late. I apologize about getting this out, but we're going to talk just a little bit about Michigan Northwestern, a little bit about Ohio State, and that'll be it. What a game. It was fun. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if it's like, who cares? First of all, Northwestern isn't nearly as bad as people say, okay? Not nearly as bad. They're not a good team, but they're not a bad team, okay? So what we did, I mean, look, Ohio State beat them 31-7. We beat them 50-6. Oh, I mean, compare that. I mean, those are two teams that we both played. So look, 50-6. And the first half, they were doing okay. It looked like they were going to win, but it was going to be a fairly close game. The offense, so. But that drive that Davis took them down, that was great. That last drive, it's always they play the middle eight, the last 4 minutes of the first half, first 4 minutes of the second half. 17-6 at half, that touchdown was huge. They came out, scored right again, and just blew them out. The last 7 drives, I believe they had 5 touchdowns and 2 field goals. 17-6. That's impressive. I don't care who you're playing. And an error that this whole year, blowouts have been 31-3 or 31-10, something like that. And they say Michigan got blown out all these times, and even Texas was 31-10 or something like that. I don't even remember the score. But look, the defense continues to be staunch. They're the real deal. They haven't gave up a second half touchdown in a while. They are the real deal. I'm just telling you. Northwestern had 10 yards rushing. 10 yards rushing. Michigan had 396 total yards to 127, 127. That's defense. 201. Mullen was a beast again. Where'd you go, Kalal? We miss you. Welcome back. Or was it the offensive line decided? But O'Neal, Crippen, that offensive line finally was just flatting people. They were hitting people hard, and you could see it. And so a shout out to that offensive line. It was a good rushing. They did a decent job of protecting, and Davis did as good as we could expect. He wasn't no Tom Brady out there, but he did what we needed him to do, and I was very happy for him. In fact, I think if we had kept him in the whole season, I think we'd be a different team. I think we should have worked through, coached him up through those interceptions, and who knows where we would have been, but that's okay. So, they what else can I tell? First downs, 25 first downs to 8. Yes, 8 first downs. We held them to 5 third down conversions out of 14. We were 11 for 16 on third down. That's pretty good for Michigan. 1 punt, the whole game, 1 punt. And again, Kalal, 90 yards, 7.7 per carry. And Donovan, man, he was getting hot there for a while. 65 yards, and he did 6.5. So between both of them, they were out, about 70? I don't have all the other guys, but, they got some of the guys in the second half, which was great to see. And it was fun. It was a fun game. Jaden Davis, he went in. I was so disappointed. He went, and finally we get to say Jaden, and he hands it off, and boom, touchdown. So that was great, but it was like I would have loved to have seen him come in maybe a little bit earlier. I don't know what that means, but I know, he was real happy when they got announced that Bryce was coming. Orji was happy. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm not saying Jaden's staying, but he's the real deal. He's a good kid, and I would love to have him on our team. Anything else come out at me? We had 195 yards passing, again to 117. So he did what he needed to do. He didn't put it on fire, but he did have one bad interception. It sailed on him, and that was on him. So now I think this is a lot closer. That Michigan versus Northwestern is a lot closer to what we have here. I think we have Donovan, or I think Jane. Can we slow down? Davis Warren is about where he's at. He can get maybe a little better, but I don't think he's ever going to be a great quarterback. But I think he's doing better. And again, if we had him all year, I think it would be a different team. I think if we played Illinois or Washington, we'd win. So we're a better team than 6-5 or 6-6 if we end up on there. But in the long run, does it really matter? The season's over, right? And guess what happens on our next game? I told my wife we are going to that first game. I'm going to see Bryce Underwood play because he's probably a day one starter. Now, as far as Ohio State, they played Northwestern too, 131-7. In that game, Northwestern had 32 minutes to 28 minutes for Ohio State. So the time of possession went to them. 420 yards to 250. So 150 yards more. Michigan was almost 400 yards more. So, I mean, not that you can really look at football that way, that we beat the same team, they played better, we had more yards than they did. I know that doesn't matter. So, but, that's all we got to go on, other than the fact that Michigan's not very good and Ohio State's great. So, although I think Ohio State's one of the best teams in the country, but something tells me they're just not the same team. They're not as electric. They're not as on fire. I mean, they're going to have more drives where they kind of go down, efficiently down the field, use more time up. That's why they're not going to score 40 or 50. I'm guessing somewhere around 30 to 18, something in that matter. Not that Michigan can't win. Y'all remember 2014 or 13 rather. We missed a 2-point scored at the end of the game, missed a 2-point conversion, and we would have won. And we had no business being on that field with Ohio State that year. None, zero. So now Ohio State, if they're overlooking him and think we're going to just kill him, but I don't think after losing 3 years in a row to Michigan that Ohio State's going to overlook them. They haven't beat us since 2019. It's a long time. This is pretty cool. Now, here's the good thing. Michigan upsets Ohio State. This makes our year. We don't even care about being, the fact that we went 7-5. We're not going to go to a huge bowl game because we beat Ohio State. We'll probably go to the same one, maybe in Tennessee, I forget what they call it. But my brain's not working. But it's probably going to be the same one way or the other. So that doesn't really matter other than getting the practices. But if we beat Ohio State with this team, I mean, can you imagine how the Buckeyes are going to feel? You lost to one of the worst teams Michigan's had in a long time, and you couldn't even beat us. And here's the thing. If they beat us, yeah, you finally had to beat us when we had one of the worst quarterback rooms in the history of our school. I mean, it was terrible. Just terrible. They went through 3 and none of them could pass. Now, Davis is, like I said, doing better, but you know what I'm saying. So I'm trying to prepare myself, to be honest, for a loss. If they lose, it's okay. If they win, great. But I'd like to see a close game, and I think it's going to be a lot closer than 21 points. I think it's ridiculous to put, in any situation, any of these teams a favorite by 21. That's just my opinion. Now, you look at, offensively, OSU is 28th. This is total offense in the country. Michigan on defense is 23. You could say they match up there. Maybe they do, especially if Will Johnson's going to be playing. I don't know if he is or not. Offensively, this is where it goes bad. Michigan, now it's getting better. They definitely are getting better. But I see Michigan is 117th in the country. And defense, Ohio State is 1. Total defense. Now, I don't know if that is after the Northwestern game or not. I didn't check my stats good enough, but either way, Michigan's way low when it comes to offense. I think what they need to do, we need to get a couple turnovers. We can't go down 14-0, 17-0, even 10-0. We've got to keep it back and forth. We got to have some long drives, which we score touchdowns. Davis doesn't have to, be Tom Brady, but he just needs to be what he did against Northwestern. Be efficient, hit those crossing patterns, go down, downfield a little bit, but have some good blocking on the outside. Get those swing patterns, those swing passes, screen passes to Donovan and to other guys. Just be efficient. Stay ahead of the chains. Just move the ball. I don't want if we're down 2nd and 10 and 3rd and 8, it's gonna be a long game because we're not gonna score. But if they can move the ball, control it, work on time of possession, Kalal and Donovan can be I would put both of these guys in at once. This is the last game. This is Ohio State. Try new things. Now, I'm not saying do a trick play every time, but why not just throw everything to the wind, throw caution to the wind? It doesn't matter at this point. We're going to a bowl game. We need to beat Ohio State. We need to change it up. But again, do your thing, get your little rhythm. But now and then, do some jet sweeps, do some flea flickers. We haven't seen one of those in a while. But I'm going to end up picking the score. I'm going I'm going to go 28-17. I'm writing it down, 28-17. Okay, and we'll go with that. Listen, before we go, I have got to say something about the Lions. I have never seen a team dominate. I mean, I don't think ever in the first half the way they dominated. No first downs for the Bears, and we end up winning on a lucky, bad coaching. I mean, that was the worst management and time management I've ever seen. I know they said Dan Campbell was bad at one point, and he's, by the way, doing a lot better. But all season long, they've done that. He got sacked with 32 seconds to go, and they had one play. Even if he had caught it, the game was over unless he got a touchdown. How does he not call timeout? How does the coach not call time? Or how does Caleb Williams even, I'd say, screw it. Timeout, I don't know what's going on. Call timeout. I'm not blaming Caleb Williams, but he should have called timeout and said, if my coach ain't going to save me, I'm going to do it. They were right there. All they needed was a 6-yard pass. Clock it, the ball, go kick an extra or a field goal, or throw a pattern, a side pattern, get out of bounds. Just ridiculous, just apt. But Lions did everything they can to lose that game. That fourth quarter was really bad. Now, it happens. I see people, there's no way they're going to the Super Bowl, yada, yada, yada. Stop. They have whipped everybody, and they should have whipped Chicago. The only reason they did was in the red zone. They couldn't score, and that fumble by Jameer at the end of the half, that killed them. But in a way, the second half, they definitely played a lot better. We played a lot better in the first half, but we played way better in the first half than they played in the second half. I just never seen anything like this in my life. That was crazy. So anyway, enough about the Lions. Guys, do not worry. We dominate everybody, almost every game. We're going to have a clunker in the second half. It wasn't a total clunker. Our passing wasn't quite there, and we missed some great opportunities. And that fourth down PI, that was not PI. That ball was thrown away. He had no chance of catching it. But what a game! I have a Chicago Bear fan. Shout out to Trent at work at Erie Home. He said he was just wanted to break the TV. And if I were him, I don't blame him. That was terrible. So anyway, another victory for the Lions. Guys, thanks a lot. We will get back with you after the Ohio State game. And we're going to have a whole podcast just on what happened with Bryce and how it came when they started really getting serious. Because if you remember, I told you a few weeks ago, we were getting them. I said maybe 60 to 70% when everybody was saying they're not getting them. I knew they were getting them. I had a real good chance, and I was right. Not to pat my own shoulder, but I'm going to pat my own shoulder. So guys, thanks. Have a great day. Hope your Thanksgiving was wonderful. God bless. As always, go out, help somebody. If you know a neighbor that needs shoveling for their driveway, do it. If they're seniors, it's going to be a rough time. Watch out for people who need help. Bring food over. Do something nice for somebody. Show God's love through your acts of service. And have a great day. And go blue. Beat Ohio State. And take care. Bye now.